DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, and GG Bet.
Welcome back to the DreamHack Open, coming to you live from Tours, France. And you can hear that lovely Francais musique as we see the beautiful city that is Tours. But we are inside the fabulous Paris Expo Hall here. I said Paris Expo Hall, I think it's called the Tours Expo Hall. I need to get the full name of it. I'm still working on my French here, so I hope you forgive me. And of course, we've got 8 fantastic teams competing for the trophy you can see, and the lion's share of that $100,000 prize pool. My name is Frankie Ward. I have with me Potter and Blah Blah Blah, as I'm calling him. And before the break, we saw Mouse do as we predicted. They swept away Instinct 16-4.
16-4.
16-4
Yep.
on Inferno. It got, well, it didn't really get hot. It got mildly lukewarm, Blair.
Yeah, it was kind of mildly lukewarm, as we put it, right? Instinct couldn't win a single gun round against Mousesports. That's not going to really be, a good thing for them looking forward, and that's worrying for the other French team as well, because looking at both FrenchFrogs and Instinct, they are kind of like equal. They're kind of like mixed teams, kind of just playing for the heck of it. And now it's going to be G2 against FrenchFrogs, and I'm just scared it might be the same thing again here.
I'm scared too. I mean, it was a best of one, Frankie. They had every opportunity to veto Inferno if it came down to it, but they chose to allow that map to go through, and it's a little worrisome.
Well, we're going to return to Group A later today because we need to head into Group B now. We've got our first match from the group coming up shortly. So let's take a look at the bracket, see our 4 teams who've been seeded there.
Yeah, we got G2, we got FrenchFrogs. I'm really disappointed they haven't used their logo yet. We did have a peek in it. Avantgarde and Ghost. This could have been so great if Ghost had Freakazoid out playing. I think it would really have been, could have been anyone. Could be G2, could be Avantgarde, Ghost. I don't think there's any one team like Mousesports for Group A who are a guaranteed shoe-in to go to the playoffs. So this could get interesting, but yeah, with Ghost struggling over here in FrenchFrogs, one would, if you're a betting man, you just put your money on Avantgarde and G2 to make their way through.
For sure. I mean, Avantgarde have been looking so strong. They won Rio, and they won a tournament in the CIS region right after that. So they're off 2 back-to-back wins, so I definitely have my money on Avantgarde, but it is so unfortunate about Ghost.
It is, but I just think it's going to be G2 of Avantgarde who is going to be in that final, and we think that Mouse is going to be there from Group A. But before I start digressing and getting ahead of myself, Blair, you've got 3 reasons.
I got 3 reasons. I got many reasons, but I have 3 particular reasons why this could get a little messy. Reason number 1 is the French derby. As we all know, French teams love their style of French CS, pushing in, aggression, hyper-aggression, force buys, and whatnot. And now you have 2 French teams playing against each other. We know how it was when Fnatic and NIP played against each other earlier when they had a crazy Swedish derby. So this game could be a barn burner, despite the fact that G2 are favorites. Reason number 2, G2 have looked a little shaky off late. They've had great LAN results, but if you look at the recent ECS results where they played against, I do believe it was Mousesports and I forget a second team. Optic, yes. Like losing to Optic, that's rough. It's online, yes, but that could be a factor that they could be feeling a little rattled, right? Reason number 3, FrenchFrogs have nothing to lose. They're coming into this just to have fun, just to try and have the deepest run they can. And if they play fast, aggressive, and trying to get into G2's minds, this could get actually a little bit interesting.
FrenchFrogs, though. It's not really a name that strikes fear into mon cœur, to be honest, though, Potter. Although Mousesports is quite cute too. But they've got a reputation. FrenchFrogs, what have they got?
Well, they're the old 3D Max team, right? And so they've got 3 of the players in David P, Maka, and Jinx. These are the 3 that found some success on the 3D Max side of things until G2 came in and took Jackson Lucky. So, and now they're facing off against each other. So I definitely agree. This is going to be a French derby, but G2 definitely have quite the upper hand in this scenario.
Is this going to be a grudge match, Blair?
I would love to see it, right? And I mean, the French are known for having grudges and whatnot. Let's be honest, they're all friendly. They all know each other. We saw them in the outside hotel as well, just talking, having fun. But yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of a bite. You're like, you left us. You left us for that team. So we're gonna try and win this. But then again, G2 do have Shox and Kenny, yes.
Shox and Kenny S show.
Are we expecting anything in particular maps-wise? Are we thinking Dust 2, Potter?
Could happen. It could even be Nuke. I think it could go the way of Nuke or Dust 2.
Yeah, both teams, they actually both don't like Train. They both don't like Dust 2. They both obviously probably don't like Vertigo. So the map pool is definitely pretty similar.
Can I also mention, though, G2, they keep banning Mirage. For me, that's really weird. Surely they're going to ban... In fact, look, have they done it? Yep, they banned Mirage.
I mean, yeah, that's a permaban. Obviously, luckily for them, it wasn't like... I mean, it's unfortunate. It'd be great if your permabans Cash, and now Cash is out of the picture, right? But yeah, Mirage getting banned out early on. No one surprised you, Frankie. Obviously, you're not surprised either. Train getting banned by DreamHack Open, as you can clearly see over there. And yeah, Vertigo ban. This is the thing, right? I wanted to see who would kind of pussy out, to be very honest, right? And be like, hey, you know... It kind of comes down to mind games sometimes when it comes to these sort of maps. It's like, am I gonna ban it? Are you gonna ban it? And G2 are gonna be playing this one safe. They don't want to really take any chances. No one wants to play Vertigo unless you're even right now, even if you're talking about, apart from, of course, a couple of other teams out there, I think Fury in particular can play Vertigo, but apart from that, most teams would not want to have that as a map in a best of one.
For sure, but Frankie, I gotta agree with you. It is a little worrisome that a team of G2's caliber, with the players that they have, if Mirage is their first ban, that is definitely worrisome, because specifically with Vertigo coming back into the mix, or into the mix for the first time, and Nuke kind of making a resurgence and teams putting a lot of focus on that, if G2 are having to ban Mirage, then that doesn't give them a lot of room to wiggle with their map pool.
We're going to Nuke as well, Blair. You are absolutely right. We're going to Nuke. I'm scared.
I am a little... let's be honest, it looked like Nuke to me, just looking at the map bans and picks they usually go with, but I am still a little surprised here. Nuke is a map where, yes, it has evolved over the times. It's a much more different map than it was, let's say, 2 or 3 years back, where, you know, CD side was God. Right now, you can have so many rounds in the T side. The maps evolve a little bit more. We're having some changes in the meta, so to speak, thanks to Astralis, of course. But Nuke as a map in a best of one, Potter, I would not be very comfortable with this.
I wouldn't either, but you know, that is something we have been seeing a lot more of recently in the past several months, actually. And I think it's because teams are just, it's either they focus Vertigo or they just focus a map like Nuke that has been in the pool for a very long time. And so teams have always been somewhat familiar with the map. They just haven't been able to invest fully all their time and resources into improving their map. But since Vertigo has come into the mix, I think teams are really focusing on improving on Nuke. And so I'm not too surprised that it's come out here. And I actually like the fact that it's on Nuke in this best of one.
Do you think teams didn't focus on Nuke because it's quite a complicated map to learn, or just because of Astralis?
I think both definitely, but it's more so that it's such a complicated map. We spoke of the CT side. As Blay mentioned, it used to be so heavily CT favored, and now, as of recently, it's coming to be a little bit more even, but Nuke is a map that takes so much synergy, so much focus on your CT rotation, so it is definitely a map that takes a long time to build on.
Yeah, absolutely, and speaking of long time to build on, FrenchFrogs, they haven't been together for such a long time. Sure, they know each other, they've played with each other in the past and whatnot, but yeah, I'm going to be saying it's going to be rough for these guys.
Well, let's have a focus on G2, because they are the overfrogs in this matchup. Please don't fire me, producer Dagny. They have had a mixed bag, as you've said, since the major, but they've been doing really well on LAN, and they lost body after the major. They picked up Amanek instead. Amanek not quite so much experience with the other players. He did play in LDLC, so he's probably mates with some of the guys on Instinct, but really not that much experience. But is he the key to their success on LAN recently?
Yeah, one would say that, right? They have looked very, very different. Honestly, if you look at G2, the different iterations of various French super teams, you know, it looked like Vitality were kind of running away with it at one point, especially with Ziwu, but now, or Zaiwu, I still don't know how to pronounce his name. Ziwu? It sounds better, right? It's
Everyone
French.
says Zaiwu, but...
I think it is Zaiwu. I think he himself said it's Zaiwu, right? But yeah, Amanek. So we have Amanek, we have, of course, Shox and Kenny's as well. The cool thing here is, the way they're winning, it's not about Kenny's dropping a 40 bomb or going God mode, or Shoxy just channeling 2015 all over again, right? It's more about the team seems to be synergizing right, so to speak. And yeah, I'm really, really impressed with the way they've been playing. I'm not going to read too much into the recent online performances, because let's be honest, it's LAN that really matters.
For sure, and I'm so glad to see Amanek finding some success here. We spoke of the French scene not really going out and feeling out other international teams. But actually, Almanac and Devo Duvek, these two went over to North America and they played on Misfits there for a little bit and found some success there. So, and Almanac was that player that everyone kind of spoke of. And so for him to join G2 here and find success would be an amazing storyline for them. But yeah, I agree. Kenny S and Shox, it's not only about them. It's been Jax, I think, on G2. His aggression, he's the opening player for G2. He's finding those opening picks, and they've been finding a lot of success off his back, I think.
Why do you think this roster is going to work well on Nuke, Blair?
Well, obviously because they've been playing together for a while, right? That's the most fundamental thing. The T side of Nuke, funnily enough, it's something where even if you're a new team, you're kind of like a scrimmy mixed team, you can make it work. You can try and catch teams off guard. You can copy a few things from Astral's strat book, try and fake a few things, and just make your guns do the talking, which is something that FrenchFrogs have. They do have the firepower. CD side is always going to be a problem for a comparatively new team. You need to have those protocols drilled into your heads. You need to be able to react real quickly. You got to get the timings right. You got to get the read right. And sure, they might have done their homework studying G2, but even if you know what G2 are doing, if you don't know how to counter it, if you don't have those things drilled in well enough, it's going to fall apart real bad.
For sure, and I gotta agree with you, FrenchFrogs definitely need to capitalize on that T side because as Bled mentioned, it is a map that you can really just pick up and go off of. I mean, I can't think of any other map that you can just throw two smokes and really sell such a strong fake on the outside yard. And so, yeah, definitely, if you just know a couple of set smokes on Nuke, you're able to really posture and bluff that you're going to be taking one part of the map whereas you're on ramp or inner. So it's definitely a map that gives you a lot more wiggle room on your T-side approach.
And FrenchFrogs, they have been playing a fair bit of Nuke. They played it against Astralis in Pro League. We probably shouldn't talk about that one, but they recently won it in the Vulcan Bet Invitational against Nemiga. So they have been playing it a little bit. VP as well, they beat them. They went to overtime on that. So they've got some fairly good stats against some teams of a lower tier to G2, so it's probably not going to help them out here.
You're being really kind. The fact is, I mean, just what you just said right now, they have played it against opponents who are not even close to the caliber of this current G2, right? And for them to really go for this map, they must have done their homework. They must have definitely known that G2 are probably going to pick it or let it through if given a chance, and they should have some counters in play for G2. The question is, I'm going to come back to what I said again. Even if you have the counters, if you don't have this protocols drilled into your brains, especially on Nuke, it's not really going to pan out.
And they've been playing with Haji for a little while. I last got to see him on a LAN at Star Series 6. He was playing with the Imperial. He's rated the best player on this team at the moment. The question is he the key? Is he the one person that can carry this win for them? Potter.
That's, I don't know that he can single-handedly carry this win for them, but he's definitely a huge factor, right? I think when him and Logan, and I mean, Logan's been around the scene for so long. His name has been thrown around the mix so much. He was on the LDLC Instinct roster, and now he's on the FrenchFrogs roster. So hopefully they do show us a little something. It's really... We're talking about the T side of Nuke and the fact that they're going to be able to have a lot more plays on that T side, but I'm so afraid for their CT side. I mean, I'm sure G2 have some really nice set pieces, and it's so hard to defend on Nuke if you don't have a game plan.
Well, we're asking you guys in Twitch chat who you think will win. You can vote in chat right now. Again, I feel like the predictions are going to be pretty one-sided on this one, Blair.
Yeah, no surprises here. It is going to be, I think the odds are actually pretty accurate if you look at it, right? G2 1.26, and yeah, I'm going to agree with the odds as well. G2 should really have this one in the bag. It could be a little, rough for them, so to speak, if FrenchFrog managed to pull off a few more extra rounds on the T side. But all things considered, I think G2 should have this, maybe not too comfortably, but at least pretty close.
I definitely have to agree. I mean, I think this should be another one of those showings where G2, they're going to want to come out and they're going to want to show and stamp and start this tournament off right. And so it should be pretty one-sided, but hopefully FrenchFrogs come out and show us something special.
I am going to say G2 as well. I feel bad. I'm not expecting much from FrenchFrogs, so we're literally all saying G2 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can't really be surprised about it, right? I mean, the first two games are the massive two underdogs, the two French teams. There's, of course, FrenchFrogs and Instinct, who are facing off against the two favorites. I think later during the day, when we have Windigo and all the rest of these guys playing, I think that's when things are going to get a little bit more 50-50.
A little spicier.
A little spicier,
yeah.
So this is the warm-up.
This is the warm-up. Yeah, this is just about everyone just getting warmed in. We're warming up as well for the rest of the day. I'm actually looking forward to the rest of the games that's going to be taking place today. Except this one, it's not like I don't want to watch it. I obviously want to see G2 really play, up to the level that they can really reach at. But as much as I like seeing the underdog story really work out, I don't see this one really panning out for these guys.
So, Potter, you're not going to change your mind?
No, I gotta agree with Blay here. I mean, I wanted to root for the underdog, but after seeing Instinct's performance, it's a little worrisome because they didn't look very good at all. So I'm a little worried, but absolutely right. G2 need to come out and they need to stomp on FrenchFrogs to start off the tournament.
The thing is, I want to throw a bone to the FrenchFrogs, but I can't do it. But I will say, boys, loving your logo. Brilliant. Hope we get that on the screen later in the show because the world deserves to see that, but we have to say it's going to be G2, surely. Let's see what Twitch chat are saying.
Yeah, I would love to see them vote for FrenchFrogs, to be honest, just to tilt people.
Oh, it's a lot closer than the previous match.
It's a fun name, like FrenchFrogs and Twitch chat, like frogs and Twitch chat. That's perfect.
Quelle surprise. In fact, I'm not even being sarcastic there. FrenchFrog, 36%. People have got more confidence in them than they do Instinct. But then again, Instinct were up against Mouse. G2, slightly less consistent, we're thinking. So maybe it's understandable, or maybe FrenchFrogs have got a lot of friends.
Yeah, I mean, people I feel probably have lost a little bit of faith in the G2 project. It has been around for a very long time. They haven't had a lot of success in the last few months, and I think that's also why I'm saying they definitely need to make their showing here.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. The fact that this roster has been, there's so much money, and not just money, like resources and belief being put into this lineup, the various versions of this line in the past year and a half or whatnot, and they were built to be world beaters, right? To be a top 3 team, and they're struggling. Yes, they've been looking good of late, but they need to start winning events, and especially like Opens, these are events they need to have in the bag.
At one point, though, some of these players, they were world beaters.
A long time ago, Frankie.
A few years ago, I suppose a year is a very, very long time in the world of CS. But that double act of Shox and Kenny S, do you think that one day we'll see them at the top again?
I would say so, right? If you look at how long they've been playing together, I think they just need the right elements around them. It's always been these two guys carrying the team to a certain degree in all the various versions of French CS. But I would like to see some of the younger players from the French scene. I know we have Zaiwu, but we need more younger players to really step up to the plate and allow Kenny and Shox to kind of guide them, have their moments here and there, but they shouldn't be doing the hard carrying just to get the win anymore.
Absolutely, and we talk about the French scene and all the talent that they have. I mean, this is the moment that they have to really hone in on that talent and build it and show the world that the French CS scene is still here to stay, because you're right, it has been a couple of years, but everyone else has gotten so much better since the French scene was dominant, right? And since then, we haven't really seen the French scene developing and progressing in any way towards success. And I think it comes down to the team dynamics. I mean, we always hear about the rumors about egos and bad attitudes and these kinds of things that have been plaguing these French teams. And so hopefully they figured that part out, hopefully.
What about Vitality, though?
Vitality is an exciting, hopeful success story, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet with them.
No,
I think they're on the way there. Zaiwu is phenomenal to watch. I love watching that guy, but as a team, I still think they have a little bit of work to do. I don't think they have, all the right elements in place yet.
But talking to MBK, that is a long-term project for them. He's kind of trying to change the philosophy of the team and make it into this long-term thing going forward. And let's face it, if you've got Zaiwu in your team, you're going to be really confident. You just have to support him, right? Especially on somewhere like Mirage. Zaiwu pops off, and it's so exciting to watch. And going into the major, it was all talking about G2 and Vitality, and everyone was just like, well, it's G2, surely. G2 are going to make Legends, Vitality, we don't know. And then they both made Legends, and Vitality looked the more confident team in the end, even if they didn't make the final stage.
They do, and I really want them to do well as well. You see G2 as well, kind of like, upping their game, looking pretty decent off late. But here's the problem, right? These guys, these players in both these teams in the French scene, they've been trying to do this for quite a while right now. And the problem is, Frankie, like you mentioned, time is running out. The other team's catching up. Like, look at Furia, look at their success story, right? You look at Windigo as well, look at Valiance. All these teams have really stepped up, and from just being underdog, a best one upset team, there are teams right now who are competing for wins. Teams like Avangard, for example, right? So time is running out. If it's going to take longer, these other unknown tier 2 EU teams, they're going to come and stomp you all over the place.
Definitely.
Alors, tout le monde, je suis désolée parce que les FrenchFrogs sont plus tard. So instead, while we wait, I said, everyone, I'm really sorry, the French frogs are late. So while we wait for them to sit down, I'm going to test you on your French again.
Oh, God.
If in doubt, get Celine out. Okay. So we are going to look at Si c'était à refaire.
Are we getting scored on this, on the accents
we
and
should.
stuff?
We should.
I mean,
Not on the accents, because
okay,
I'd
so
be
like,
minus points.
What kind of effort should I be putting into this pronunciation
That's
here?
a good point. Okay, you know what? I actually don't know what that one means. Okay, how about this one's very easy. C'est facile, c'est très facile.
Sorry, say it again.
No, you're reading it.
I'm reading
said
it.
It's easy. It's
Les
very
ballet.
easy.
Les ballet. Les
Wait.
ballet. That's
And
pretty good,
what does
right?
that mean?
It's
The
like,
ballet.
it's like Maybelline.
Dispoir.
I like how they're playing the music, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
Nice
And
little
then
Setting
Good
the
job, good
mood
job, production.
perfectly, yeah.
I'm thinking I will give you. I'm going to give you a really easy one, Blair, but you need to say this with intensity, okay?
All right.
It's number 7 on CD1.
Immensity?
Where was the intensity?
There was
how you
no
said
intensity in
Come
that.
on, try it again.
I'm not an intense
Try
guy.
it again. Look down at that central camera and give me some intensity with immensity.
Immensity. There we go. That's the most intense I can
No,
get. I'm
okay.
sorry, it's too early.
Give me a one shot. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hang on. I'm waiting for my one shot. Okay. Immensity.
You're doing a perfume commercial.
I am, and I smell fabulous. You would buy that, right?
I would.
Le parfum de Frankie, c'est immensity.
What does it even mean, by the way?
You know what? I think it probably means immense.
Immense.
I think it probably means really great. I'm sure someone in chat is going to tell us what it means.
Are we going to be reading like Celine Dion song names throughout the entire?
I think we should. You know what I might do? I might try and learn My Heart Will Go On in French. I don't really know how you would say that. Mon corps, être. No, that would be my heart to be. My heart to be. Eternité.
I like that this is turning into a French 101 analyst desk along with CSGO. I like that. We are in tours.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
Isn't it pronounced tour?
Tour, it is.
It is
I keep
tour.
saying, you know what, in my intro to this segment, I did say tours and I felt really bad, and then I started talking about Paris
So
because
so
you
it's
do
just
pronounce the
tour.
S in Paris.
Just tour.
It's just tour.
It's just tour.
S is silent.
Okay.
There you go. Right, well, we're nearly ready to go. Not quite yet. The French, they like to keep us waiting. And that's fine, because good things come to those who wait. And we're potentially going to see an epic match on Nuke. I do think it's going to be a little bit scrappy. If you were the French Frogs, though, Potter, what would you be doing to try and outsmart G2?
You know, we talked about composure, and we saw Instinct winning both the pistols in that BO1, so French Frogs definitely need to do that. However, they need to have one step after the pistols, which is those gun rounds, and remaining composed. And the first 6 rounds seem to always be like a slugfest between these teams, and then the better team tends to let everything settle down and then start putting a lot more points on the board. And so I think French Frogs are definitely going to have to disrupt G2 in the beginning and try to hold on to some sort of momentum.
Absolutely.
And Jackson Lucky, as we mentioned earlier, they did used to play on the French Frogs roster back when they were 3D Max. That is my accent. I will stop with the accent soon, I promise you, everyone watching, apologies. So do you think that's more of an advantage for the French Frogs, the fact that they know these players very well, or do you think actually G2 are therefore going to have the upper hand?
I think G2 will still have the upper hand, right? I mean, sure, you might know these two players, but they're playing under a completely different regimen, so to speak, with Shox and Kenny S. And I just want to touch upon what you just mentioned earlier about, you know, what French Frogs need to do. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, you know, on the CD side, they're going to struggle a bit, let's be honest. But what they could really do here is to try and give themselves some leeway on their T side. They could try and be as disruptive as possible. Sure, it's not going to work out all the time, but it's just going to play crossfires in the side. They're going to get destroyed by G2, right? But if they kind of like, you know, go for secret control, force G2 to get map control, I think that's what they need to do here.
Well, what we also need to do is say hello to our casters. Let's bring them back. Hello, boys. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. This could be a real bomb burner of a game, Hugo. I'm looking forward to this. You know, I don't think that G2 have this in the bag at all. I think that, you know, the French Frogs could actually do some damage. For me, it's all about who controls the dough, who controls the money. And I think, you know, if they can get Maka on the AWP, I was very impressed with him in the Pro League. He could be someone to keep an eye on.
Who controls the dough?
Yes.
I can't wait to sink my teeth into this one, Frankie.
That was
He's
a
been rehearsing these.
half-baked joke, boys. Honestly, c'est pas une plaisanterie because it was not funny.
Wow.
Now, so boys, you're both probably saying G2 for this one then.
I think it's a safe bet, especially after the Mousesports game. We just saw Mousesports absolutely trounce Instinct. I'm not believing in Underdogs anymore.
Well, I am. Freddy Frogs? They're great. But no, FrenchFrogs, they got this in the bag. I'm telling you, right? Maka, he's going to pop off. I don't know if I actually have as much faith as I've made out. I'm probably going to say G2. Yeah, no, I'm going to side with G2 as well, actually. I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Where is the courage in your convictions, Harry?
I don't know. I don't really ever commit to a decision, Frankie. I just kind of swim around in the ocean that is life
Well,
and hope that it goes all right.
You can find a little bit of a commitment now because we need you guys to commit to casting this match on Nuke. So over to you, gentlemen.
Let's hope you don't drown in the murky waters of your indecision, Harry, as we get into things. Yeah, second game of the day, and yeah, it's more, underdog stories, I guess. We've already had this to start off, and it's going to continue until I've still got bread in my mouth, mate.
Yeah.
And, until we really get to the more equal matchups where you have, the invited teams. For example, the Avant-Garde game later is going to be really, really fun to watch. I'm excited for that, of course, but French rivalry, French domestic matchup, Harry, and in tour as well in France. Everything's looking good.
Hugo, is that a baguette in your lap, or are you just happy to see me?
Definitely both.
It is actually a baguette in your lap. Are you going to put that away?
No.
You're just going to keep eating it throughout the match. That's fair enough. G2 versus the FrenchFrogs about to be underway. Nuke is, of course, the map. And Hugo, we've spoke a lot about G2. For me, I want to draw some attention to the FrenchFrogs. We've seen them competing over in the Pro League. Obviously, they didn't do that great there, right?
No.
Certainly not the results they would have hoped for. That said, they were in a pretty stacked group. Things weren't exactly looking great for them from the offset. And for you and I personally, I don't know about you, Hugo, but I was very impressed with Maka, as I kind of touched upon earlier on. He is someone who I think if you get the AWP in his hands, he could make all the difference here.
He was a saving grace. He was definitely the player that we looked out for. I think Hadji as well is another name that I hope to see a great performance from. In the Pro League, we didn't see anything especially, impressive. But again, they were the bottom seeded team of the group. It was kind of what we expected. And now time to expect the unexpected, Harry. We're getting into things. Nuke, our second map of the day, and the Frenchmen will fight it out over on this battleground. We're going to find out which way this is going with G2 versus FrenchFrogs. The latter of which on that T-side start, not an easy way to begin, but let's see what they got up their sleeve.
Sharp's going aggressive outside. Is going to feel the wrath of David P. Kenny rearing his head out for a mini. We'll get it dinked on down, but not quite finished off. Secret control seized by the FrenchFrogs. Amanek over here in the vents is going to start to get pressure, but Kenny's here to help. They finally deal with Kenny, but Amanek still floating around, still being the nuisance in the vents here. They actually find Hadji as well, and with that, the bomb's been dropped. Logan, left in this 1v3, has the world on his shoulders, and that weight might be a little bit too much to bear here. A tall order, and can Logan step up to the plate? He's completely surrounded. Will manage to delete one. He somehow caught a timing here. Maybe can deal with the player in the vents. Logan creeping forward, but Amanek holds his own, and G2 able to find themselves the pistol around here to kickstart Nuke.
What a perfect round from Amanek as well. That delay play in the vents is fantastic. Doesn't commit to any of the duels, allows his teammate to rotate in while he has the bomb under his control. And that reposition from showing first contact on stair side of vents and then doubling back to double peek with Kenny was a good decision as well. G2, they really got a great pickup in Amanek in this roster, and he is already impressing us. These past few weeks, G2 now sitting 1-0 up, and it's FrenchFrogs with the full eco, not willing to try their hand at the force bite, would rather get guns sooner. And they shall be available in the third round, but a solo flashbang at a P250 is all that they really have to play with. David, he's gone and got himself a Deeg, but you're asking for a lot for FrenchFrogs really to find anything. G2 aren't contesting outside, they just have Kenny down secret. Shocks, no armor. I think that's a bit of a mistake, but let's see if it comes back to haunt him.
Yeah, he's just playing that long angle, though, over towards CT, so he definitely can't afford to not have it. Maybe, I mean, I guess we'll see, right? David P towards outside with this Deagle. Certainly looking to try and do some damage. We'll bring Kenny down but isn't quite able to find the kill. And now FrenchFrogs grouping up the remaining 4 players. Just going to have to make a decision and stick with it. Looking like it's going to be a play into the A bomb site. Mack has got the flash to try and facilitate it. It will rain over. Amanek going to miss those shots with the auto shotgun, but not the second time around. Quickly trying to get the reload off, and he's making quick work of this offensive. Mack are able to find him, but an auto shotgun and a dream, and he gets stuck on the door. That will be the second round for GT. They take it pretty cleanly, only losing Amanek on that push. And now we should get to see this first buy on the cards.
Yeah, nice confident start from G2. Nothing too special. No underdog upset with these pistol rounds yet, and that makes this half very, very difficult. FrenchFrogs have to prove their worth in the rifle rounds, but they have many to play with. Here is the start. AK's already set up in the lobby. One Galil on David. Amanek, look at him go. He's just getting aggressive. He gets that kill. It's actually Jack stealing it from the ramp side of things. Amanek just gets damaged, and Lucky will continue to push. G2 are cementing their place in this round. 5 on 3. Some splendid aggression to start it off, and FrenchFrogs, they have no response. They have actually managed to wrangle David P deep in through the yard. The timing is there, and Shox does check it. He'll take him down.
Yeah, the FrenchFrogs, they've been manhandled in this round. Hadji and Maka left standing, and how much can they even really afford to look to do? Kenny going to shut down Maka, and now Hadji alone, likely afraid. A minute left on the clock, and 5 players still to find on the other side of things. Has a smoke and a nade, but that's really not the ideal bit of kit that you would want to try and find something here. Now he's doing a bit of a nade line up over towards the top of Hut. Doesn't actually find any damage. Down the ladder he goes, and actually, Jax gets caught looking the wrong way. Actually in with the first, but now he's been spotted. Will shut Amanek down as well. They have to be a bit careful here. They are feeding Hadji a couple of kills. Still 3 players up for G2. They're not sweating just yet. Hadji creeping forward, and Kenny S will put him down. The third round cemented. G2 continuing to build upon this lead. Hadji, try as he might, can't win out the 1v5, and you're asking a hell of a lot of him. You know, not a realistic round, really, if you are the FrenchFrogs.
Kenny is looking sharp as well. That's one, though. He's 5-1, hitting some headshots here and there, and that definitely spells a good sign for G2. When you mentioned, Harry, you came into this game saying, okay, the one player I want to look to is Maka at AWP. Well, the CT side AWP player is certainly looking ready to go. Not quite equipped with that big green gun just yet, but happy with the AK. 3-0 RG2. FrenchFrogs, lots of util though. They can go for this wall of smokes outside and then end up indoors. They've got mollies for the hut roof. Instead, they will just go behind these smokes, try and cross towards a secret. Once these smokes go down, G2 should just immediately rotate a player into that lower bomb site, and they already have done so. It's going to be Jax down there, keeping an eye on these secret stairs. And with nothing heard or seen anywhere else, this is very clear. G2 should know that this is the push to come through, and Jax making first contact will be able to just fall back here. And Frogs trying to cross, they'll get away with minimal damage.
Yeah, this actually leaves a lot on Jax's plate, far more than he ever expected. 3 players around the corner shut him down, but Shox on this wrap might have just caught the timing, and they don't look ready for it. Shox in with another, and he's looking to try and get more done. Shox has killed everybody. Hadji left alone once again, at this time a 1v3 to try and find. Has retrieved this AK, but Shox, he's foaming at the mouth. He's hungry for more, and he's looking for that 4K.
30 seconds, Hadji, he's all out of luck here. He's got to commit towards that B site. We've even got Lucky up on top side to make sure he can't get up through those vents or even wrap back through the stairs. Shox is just waiting for that bomb plant attempt, and Hadji's got to go for it sooner rather than later. Amanek even on ramp to assist, and he's just going to creepy crawl out. Shox's gun barrel and his view model might stop him from seeing Hadji in the timing. He sees the barrel of the gun, and Shox will get ahead of the curve, winning that round for G2. Very close timing, though. Hadji almost caught it. Could have had a potential clutch there on that B site, but not to be for FrenchFrogs. And well, the Frenchmen over on G2 side are certainly looking ready to party. I'm excited to see if we have this AWP for Kenny here as well. We do. He went down in the previous round, so reinvestment from him and full AKs from FrenchFrogs.
Yeah, we still haven't got to see this AWP yet on the FrenchFrogs side of things. Now, we do have the AWP over on Kenny, so be sure to bear that in mind. David P creeping past this smoke, but Shox is already up and by it. Now the wall of smoke's going to go on down, but it's Shox's position here that could prove critical for G2. David P is going to get hurt and tagged up by that Molotov, so they know already that a man has gotten by into Secret, but it is just the one gunman. It's Jinx in the meantime, along with the rest of the gang, in towards A. They swoop on out, and Shox, his forward position in Yard never really yields anything. He's actually going to flick on a David P somehow, some way. He's able to recover control of outside, find his bearings, and now we're back into a 4-on-4. The bomb down. G2 knocking on the door of FrenchFrogs. They've got plenty of utility to get back into this bomb site. The site take was so fast from FrenchFrogs that they didn't really whittle that down on the CT side of things. But it's a very tricky bomb site to get back into. They're looking towards someone like Shox or Amanek to try and be the linchpin. Amanek's gone, but it's Jax and Shox to find two between them. That's very much tempted Shox and Jax in for this retake, but no time left, and FrenchFrogs over on the T side of things will be finding their first round here in round number 5.
Very well played from Maka. They're dodging the flashes set up by Kenny over in main to allow Amanek to get up through that vent. The smoke played on the edge of by Maka, and then double dodges a flashbang to shut down that vent rotate. If Amanek gets that kill there, that site certainly falls for the likes of FrenchFrogs, who of course had G2 with 2 players in the lobby in the back. Shox, after showing himself outside, actually wrapped in through T-spawn. So nearly a found retake for G2, but time is going to be the issue. And a first T-side taken by FrenchFrogs. They've got the AWP and Macro as well, so keep your eyes out on that. But look at Shox, he's going very, very aggressive here, and he might just find something for it. Oh, guess not. Round reset, it seems. We did hear typing there for FrenchFrogs, so I guess technical problems.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, right? This isn't normal, Hugo. This isn't the usual. So, yeah, that will be a quick tech pause. I still really want to see this AWP brought out at some point, and we finally get to see it, right? The AWP was carried forward, I believe, at the end of that last round by the FrenchFrog side of things. So, you know, we spoke a lot about it, and now we finally get to see exactly why.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if we even have that AWP battle, or if we're going to just continually see FrenchFrogs just go for these yard smokes and cut off the line of sights for the AWP player rather than actually engage in a fight there. Because like, if you're Maka and you realize that Kenny's on the other side, what are you thinking? Do you actually even want to take that fight? Do you feel confident enough, or would you rather just negate the issue and bypass it and try and get down towards that B site? We'll find out, Harry, because of course that AWP has been saved. And, well, Nuke has really been changing as a map in these past few months as well. I mean, it was kind of brought up on the desk as well. From Potter, we see this a lot more in Best of Ones. A lot of teams are starting to adapt and realize how to approach this map, especially as a CT side. And that's cool to see. Even, years down the line, we're still seeing the meta of maps continually change. And that's just due to teams, working out, okay, this is the best way to play this. This is how we want to approach, this situation. And just knowing how to react as a CT side to whatever the T's throw in can be very difficult as a team, especially a new roster or a roster recently with changes. So that's why for the side of FrenchFrogs, this is not an easy game for them by any means of the word.
No, right, definitely not. And this is another one where they're coming into it, and they're kind of on the unfortunate side of the coin, right? It's a bit of a trial by fire. I feel like these first two matches that we have are two of the more one-sided ones, right? The two French teams as well are going to be coming in and kind of getting a bit of a battering. On the upside, at least in this matchup, a French team has to win, right? Like
Look at the bright side.
And at least it is G2, dishing out some pain in the way of FrenchFrogs if it goes down the way that we're kind of imagining this game transpires.
And I think definitely it will depend on this matchup where we kind of have to see what happens. But I'd love to know what your aspirations or your expectations rather are for a potential Mousebots G2 game, and in terms of who's the top dog there. These are the two potential event winners, you could argue. Avangard, of course, you can make a case. I mean, you can make so many cases, really, considering, Windigo have had a great last few months. Avangard have been fantastic. But do you see G2 being in the final here?
There's just so many dark horses, right?
Yeah.
Who can just come in and cause these big upsets. They're the two that we should definitely look to have in the final. But whether or not that happens, we're just going to have to wait and see. We're back into things, though. The delay out of the way. Clearing through them early on, we are. Amanek gonna have his auto shotty back in hand. Now he's been loving this. I haven't loved him on it, you know, like aside from in the anti-eco, that's really where we've seen him get the bulk of his kills with the auto shotgun. But FrenchFrogs this time turning their attention towards outside. You were wondering if we were going to see maybe a bit more outside presence on the back of having the AWP, or if they were just going to negate this area entirely. They haven't really seemed all too interested in taking it. So on the back of getting that big green gun out on Maka, they have taken outside control. They do have a man over towards Heaven now and could look to wrap into this A-bomb site. Jinx gonna spot Amanek over in Mini. Does get caught in the crossfire. Jack's able to shut him down and put us back into a 4-on-4, but it's David P in the Heavens. They set him up here earlier on, but Lucky's ready for it, and David's gone. So now 3v4, 30 seconds left. They've got to pick up the pace on the side of FrenchFrogs.
Oh, great entry though. That's so key for Haji. It's brought it back to a 3-on-3, and Shox has got to rotate back up the vents. This is a very difficult position to get anything done from, but he knows it's a player to his left. The Molly nade combo, and Maka avoids it in through Squeaky and into the jaws of Jax. 2 kills for him, and that bomb's been dropped with 15 seconds left up. It's just Haji on the AWP, and things are not looking good. He gets one, and Shox just avoiding that shot. 10 seconds, Haji's got to go for it. He's got to get that plant in, and he should just have time. Shox moving closer, and Haji will stick it. 1 second left as that bomb goes down, and Shox taking an elevated angle. Haji flashing himself, got to hold off for a second, but he seems aware. He seems aware of the possibility. It's Shox to shut it down though, and G2 will take that round.
Yeah, pressure maybe getting a Haji a bit there in that 1v2. One thing you have to give him credit for, though, is he does play that very well, right? He spots the gun of Shox just playing around on the vents, and he knows that Jax is over in Mini. So he tries to take that fight onto Jax nice and early, knowing that Shox is not in a position where he can help out, you know, knowing that he's got one man isolated. He waits for the fight with Jax, wins that one, then tries to go for the no-scope onto Shox down in vents, doesn't want to, you know, risk scope it in and peek in that angle for an extended period of time. Shooting down the vents is horrible. Shooting up the vents is horrible.
Vents is horrible.
Yeah.
That's why they removed the other one, Harry. So we only have one vent now.
Half as many vents.
Yeah, still awful, but half as awful.
100% of the dissatisfaction, but 50% of the vent.
Exactly. It's weird how you can press E on the vent as well. No one does that. I guess that was kind of ignored a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess
it closes the shutters,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Is that ever useful?
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's a nice little aesthetic thing, though.
Yeah. Cool idea, but teams just break.
That is if you're someone who's fascinated by blinds or something like that. Oh, well, G2...
Easily entertained.
Still sitting with the lead on the back of Shox, you know, being able to win that 1v1 versus Haji. He does a good job as well, considering he's running into the AWP there in the retake rather. Continuing to build upon this lead on the G2 side of things.
And G2 off to a good start. Definitely sets us up for kind of what we want in this event. I want G2 to make a run. I kind of want to see them in the final. I definitely want a French team to make a run here. And if there was going to be a French team to do it, it would be them, of course. The other two definitely being underdogs, but G2, they've had a rough few months. This roster change is looking good for them, and they're starting to power through, at least for the beginning of this map. 5-1 up here on the CT side of Nuke, with no signs of stopping.
And I tell you what, right, when I was here 2 years ago, so what would that be, DreamHack Tour 2017, that was when G2, you know, they'd kind of hit that rough patch. They just formed the team, everyone was reasonably excited, and then you remember there was that slog of just disappointing results. You know, they were very much in their own heads. And then they actually were able to win Tour, and that was kind of when we saw them start to find a bit more success, start to find their confidence. It was here, in front of the home crowd, that we saw the G2 of old, you know, not ever really find its footing, but they found the title here, and that definitely seemed like it gave them some confidence. You know, having the crowd behind them and then having an event victory under your belt did kind of propel them onto slightly better things. So, you know, G2 now with this new look squad, you still have Shox, you still have Kenny, but you got some new fresh faces in the mix.
And it'd be
obviously,
nice,
you know, different squad back then, but not entirely.
It'd be nice to have them back up there as well. If you think back to last year, it was Envy, the local French team, to play. I mean, Haji was even in Envy at that point as well. So it's you know, he's coming back to it. They also bombed out in groups. So definitely not hoping for the same result, but looking very possible here. It's not a great start for FrenchFrogs here, but they are on the seaside of Nuke, so we'll give them a bit of breathing room. G2, however, won't, and we're getting back into things. AWP here for Kenny once again. Maka won't have his. It's looking like a faster approach after this pause. Logan's gone straight out with the entry, but the trade is there from Amanek. He's got to keep this site alive because Logan has taken another kill. This site is now belonging to the French Frogs. Double molly up in heaven, G2 out, and Kenny S can't get in with the AWP. This is looking like a done deal already. French Frogs might have just busted open this A site.
Yeah, and this is where they've been finding the limited bits of success that they have been able to get. Amanek and Jax kind of thrown into a situation where all you really can do is save, right? It would require someone from FrenchFrogs to give up a hell of a lot of ground here for G2 to even be interested in this one, and that's largely just because that money's not really been given a chance to build up over on the CT side of things, right? Despite being 5-1 up, that last round coming down to the 1v1, they haven't had a chance to build up this bank over on the CT side. And really, you know, FrenchFrogs, they do at least have that loss bonus banked up still. You know, they're able to find a round here, they get the bomb down, so they're starting to accrue a bit of money over on the T side. And this is kind of all the makings of what could be FrenchFrogs getting into this map now. They've built up some cash, they've broken the economy of G2. This is where we're going to look to the FrenchFrogs to actually start to have a bit more presence within the server.
And I welcome that. G2, well, they're looking to shut it down before it begins, but the issue is the money. They only have 3 rifles, a couple of bits and pieces thrown onto the likes of Lucky and Shox. FrenchFrogs, are they going to double down? Are they going to go back for this fast A play? It doesn't seem to be the case. They're looking towards ramp. The smoke, though, conceals their vision. It's Jax holding very passive here. He's allowing them to walk out if they do so please. Playing a very off angle. FrenchFrogs, they have the Molotovs for this spot if they want to use them. Flashes go through. Jax now knows they are in position, but do they know that Jax is nearby? He's going to hear all of them dropping towards B. There's one. Lots of info, but the death is imminent. FrenchFrogs do find that trade. Maka moving down towards his B bomb site now. And G2 with only Shox here currently.
Yeah, Shox has a hell of a lot to do, especially for a man with just an MP9 by his side. Flash through the window. All that's done is ring the dinner bell. He's able to find a bit of damage through the smoke, but he gets tagged back in response. And now the ramp getting pressured. Maka is trapped in here. Haji trying to deal with the ramp man. Jinx going to shut down another, but Lucky flicking back. Might have just made this possible. Now down to the 1v1. Jinx versus Lucky. Trying to force the fight, but will he be ready? Jinx holding this shallow angle, waiting for the ramp peak. Lucky round the corner he goes, but Jinx going to find him, and FrenchFrogs in with a 3rd round. No money left for G2 once again. And this could very much be the Underdog squad getting into this game. Looking to tie things up early on.
Yeah, and that's such a huge round, right? You know, FrenchFrogs find their 2nd round in the previous, and that was just off of the back of the A rush. And I was a little worried that, okay, you know, that's a little bit one tricky. You can't run that every round, but they still managed to convert a post plant on the B bomb site there. So not just a one-trick pony here. And as you say, equalization very much on the cards here with money being gone for G2. They're all over this smoke in the yard. Mac is trying to spray him down, and he might have a hell of a lot of money on the other side. He spots Jax, removes him, and this is just a slaughterhouse in the yard. Mac is on 4, and Amanek's in T-spawn. This is your traditional Nuke eco.
The most crazy thing about that as well is Maka is the one SMG on the map, so they have just fed him so much money. He feels very happy with how that went down. Throws a meaty nade at the beginning of the round as well. He did so much damage, even if he didn't kill anyone there. He'd already done his job. So now sitting 4-5, FrenchFrogs 1 away from the early equalization. And considering they're over on T-side Nuke, this is already looking like a very good scoreline for the FrenchFrogs.
The tables have turned very, very quickly, Harry, indeed. With no AWP for Kenny to fight back against Maka, this is where things could get very, very interesting indeed. Close outside positions here for the FrenchFrogs. Haji just holding onto the ramp. And lobby somewhat vacant here. At least for the time being, it's just G2 giving up yard. They're playing a bit of a timing game here, and they don't have a B player. Right now, FrenchFrogs, in theory, could walk down B without G2 having info, but the smokes will make it very clear. Now we can see that rotation from the likes of G2. The smoke going down and ramp, and Shox does actually close the distance here in towards lobby. Could be dangerous. Haji's on the other side of that one. He seems somewhat aware, but as I say that, timing may get the better of moving away. Jax gets caught now. Shox can find his time to push up, but they're also doing so in the lobby. In the meantime, FrenchFrogs down on B, but they're losing players in the yard. They're actually trying to fight Kenny S, who's gotten himself a kill and just smoked himself off to stay alive. 4 on 3, and G2 will not give away this man advantage just yet.
Yeah, they're really putting a lot of stock in dealing with Kenny over in CT, and they will manage to do it. It's Maka going toe-to-toe with his open counterpart over on the side of G2, admittedly only with an M4 in the hands of Kenny, but he will best in that. Now back into this 3-on-3, Jinx setting up down here in hell, trying to clear the ramp for him, but the timing of Shox's peak does slightly elude him there. That's Jinx gone. And this leaves Logan and Amaka left standing. 2v3. The B bomb site looks to be their goal here as they're pushing on down. Lots to clear though, and only 14 seconds to do it. This bomb plant has to come through. Flash to try and allow the cross. But there's no time.
I don't think they realized. Yeah. There's no way in hell you would go up those stairs with 10 seconds left if you knew that you had to get that bomb down. I guess just eluded FrenchFrogs there. That is a very awkward way to lose a round, Harry. And you could see that moment of panic. When the number goes red, that's when you realize it. Especially when you're playing and you're tunnel visioned in on your crosshair and you're communicating, you're trying to work out how to approach that round. The last thing you're thinking of is the time, and then suddenly you just see a big red 10 at the top of your screen. That's when the panic sets in, and it certainly does. FrenchFrogs falling just shy due to the second, and G2 keep the lead. It's not equalized just yet. Very important round one for G2, who are, of course, already on rocky economy. It will actually be them to take a pause.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this is kind of the thing that is a bit of a reoccurring problem perhaps for this FrenchFrogs roster, and that is it does sometimes feel like that when they do take that initial knockback, they're not one of these teams that is able to dust themselves off and get back up, right? Kind of find a solution to the problem. You know, you saw that things got a little bit flustered on the back of losing Haji early on. He kind of gets caught in that early crossfire, and then there was the commotion of trying to secure outside. And then, you know, the indecisiveness, right, is the thing that costs FrenchFrogs that round there. They don't commit to the B play. They have so many angles to check. They've kind of dilly-dallied around for most of the round, and as a result, they run out of time. Haji actually going to get burnt up early on in this round. Going to trade the AWP back across to Maka. All the smoke's down outside, but only one man pressuring it. That will be Jinx creeping up. David P, rather. Ooh. And he has managed to get past. He has managed to get into the garage, and they don't actually know he's here.
And they'll have no idea because Jax looked up the stairs to spot, and that exact time was when David was in the smoke. So there's zero info here for G2. They think that they've got this under control, and they think that FrenchFrogs are about to burst A. Well, they are. The issue is, will they expect the backstab? Probably not. It might not be A after all, Harry.
Yeah, David P starting to clear the ramp room instead. He's going to spy that there's no one here, so the wheel's turning now in the heads of FrenchFrogs. They know he's going to be holding close. They will shut Shox down. These rotations having to come through from G2, and David P leading the charge. Now he'll get dropped nice and early by Jax, the first man on the scene at this B bomb site, but it's promptly returned. Man advantage maintained here for the T side of things. Kenny swinging the door wide, but Maka going to find him once again. Now just Amanek and Lucky remaining. Are they even going to bother attempting this? The money's not really there for G2. And yeah, it's looking like it's just going to be a save. So FrenchFrogs, a 5th round locked in.
And that's such a sick call. I mean, obviously it comes down to the timing of that peak there from Jax, but that's all CS is at the end of the day, a lot of timings. And David P, he'll win his, getting in through the CT spawn and going into the backside of the ramp. It's going to be FrenchFrogs taking a 5th round here on this T side, and Amanek, he's looking to try and at least quell the cash for now with the shotgun. He's making it work with 2, but no save gun for him. And he will be removed at the end of it. So AWP for Maka is starting to come alive, Harry, and that's another talking point. He takes 2 in that round. Definitely the players that you want to see stepping up are doing so right now, at least for the side of FrenchFrogs. The question is, does G2 have anything left in the tank to respond? Because this is very back and forth, and as is the back and forth nature, the CT side is going to be the one getting crippled by the economy there. So much more expensive to buy. And of course, you need that utility far more. But very vocal on the side of FrenchFrogs. They may be up 5 rounds, Harry, but things maybe aren't going perfectly.
Yeah, but this is where, you know, the economy system kind of throws an interesting twist into the mix, right? You kind of touched upon it there, and that is, you know, for G2, not only are they going to be punished because they're over on the CT side of things, but you think about it, you know, they had that big lead early on. They were 5-0 up. So as a result, you know, if you look over at the FrenchFrogs, they have that loss bonus banked up. You know, it started to get chipped away at now as they're stringing these rounds together. But for G2, the real problem is going to be that all the rounds that they did win was so down to the wire, right? They were always kind of coming down to these, you know, 2 or 1 players surviving, you know, clutch rounds once we saw the rifles coming out for FrenchFrogs. And so that money's never really been given a chance to build up for G2, despite the fact they had that early lead. And you can see those odds have actually even shrunk on down. So you know, clearly indicative of how this matchup has been shaping up. And FrenchFrogs are looking deadly. They are looking dangerous. Lucky waiting over here at ramp. Wants his piece of the pie, wants his piece of the action, and he will get pressured away, repositioning over towards the bottom of hell to still help out at ramp. The pistols pressuring in from this A bomb site, but Haji and Jinx making quick work of them. Haji's sandwiched in. Jinx is wrapping around to try and mop up a few of these players, but he's got the bomb on his back. He's got to be very careful, and instead he'll duck down through the vents, looking to get that bomb planted inside of B.
And David's been lurking all round long. He walks straight out to the yard at the start of the round, and they have no idea where he is. Lucky getting caught by that exact position as he looks in through main. And now, after equalizing it into a 2-on-2, he can just drop down and join his teammate. G2 have found a kit, but they've not got armor. 2 rifles, but 1 bullet can make the difference between life and death, and Jinx will show them how. Jax is removed, and now it's just Shox. He might just catch it if David P goes further, but unfortunately, he doesn't have the patience. He just spotted him. Oh no, he has a smoke. He has a kit as well. He can just jump on this bomb, but the smoke misses. He's got to force the peek, and Jinx has to go for it. He will, hitting this shot as well, and 3 kills. FrenchFrogs will pick it up. It was a very, very nice attempt from G2 on those pistols, but it's not going to be enough for a round win.
No, but they're able to find good damage off of it, and they'll take that all day long. AWP going to be picked up for Kenny, so we finally get to see an AWP head-to-head between KennyS and Maka. Now, Maka leading the way for FrenchFrogs, sitting 11-8 right now. He has been besting Kenny in a lot of these fights, but Kenny hasn't had the AWP in hand. So, finally get to see the clash of the Titans here. Shox towards outside, trying to deal with the player up on top of the silo. That is Maka on the other side. He's slowly but surely clearing the outside portion, watching for any close players maybe meandering up through those smokes, and David P catching the timing, catches Shox fully unaware. Some man advantage picked up, and FrenchFrogs know that they're in the driver's seat now, right? They're sitting a man up. They've got all the time in the world. There's no utility left on the side of G2, but they try and throw in this Hail Mary A play, and Amanek on the other side. He finds a double, will get shut down, but Logan's on 1 HP. We're back into a 3-on-3, and it's all on the back of Amanek.
And KennyS, he's back in the yard. He's just walked up from secret with that AWP. Will he check the back of Garage, though? He seems aware of the possibility, but doesn't want to get caught. Oh, there's a head, and Maka's taken it. Jax gets caught out by the squeaky walk, and Kenny's just going to check the wrong angle. David P is there. It's Lucky alone now, 1-on-3. Does drop that bomb, but it falls safely into the hands of Maka, who can just go for the plant. Lucky now got to try and pick up the clutch, but not aware of David's position. Surprising, considering he just killed his teammate out in the yard, but that's going to be the round. I'm loving this lurk from David P. It is proving to be such a nuisance to G2. These smokes outside are coming down every single round, and that is just conditioning G2. You could see the switch up this time with throwing Kenny down in the secret with the AWP. But if anything, that just gave more room in the yard for David to get all the way through Garage and find that opening kill.
And once again, no money for G2. It's a sentence that we've been saying all too much. They're back down to these pistols. Bit of armor behind them, but that is really all they have to look forward to. This time a much more aggressive stance towards outside, smoking off Mini, so likely going to try and wrap around, perhaps into hell. They could still look to take secret. They spot a man down here. That is Shox. He's not really going to get to have much of a say in this outside portion of the map. The only man who maybe can get something done is Kenny. Haji is holding off this wrap, but there's just players everywhere, all across the map on either side. There is no no kind of friendly territory here for anyone, but it's quickly turning into a French Frogs round. They shut down all the pistols, just the 2 armored players left for G2. Can they get anything done with this bit of investment?
Maybe the wrap-up ladder could be well-timed, but French Frogs are already up on top of that A site. They can call for that split. The bomb can come into the site as well. Neck trying to catch one, but David P is always aware. Raining down death. 30 seconds and this bomb can go down. Lucky's just got to try and look for damage, but Hadji has been on the roof all round long, and he is more than happy to wait for longer. 8 rounds for the French Frogs on this T side, and this is looking like an upset, Harry. A 1.51 for G2 is now 8-6. And dear, oh dear, what a turnaround this has been. Very impressive performance so far from the French Frogs. Can they put the cherry on top, though? Can they take the 9th round of the half? The final one as G2 put together another buy, at least. And double AWP on the T side as well.
Yeah, you really don't see that every day. David P's donning one. Won't find anything initially there. In through Squeaky. Shock's trying his hand at a bit more of an aggressive stance towards outside. Kenny now backing off, leaving Shock's posted up. Over at red. French, they've showed right on down of the French Frogs. Waiting to see if G2 do try and push and prod this T-side default. And finally, they try and make a move, but Shock's now going to rear his head towards that side. He's actually got a bit of a window here to try and get out of danger, get out of dodge. He will back off and concede some of this outside portion of the map. Actually going to start to reposition and still floating around, still toying with the idea of challenging French Frogs here. He'll be in with another. Amanek going to drop one more. Leaves just Maka, 1v5, and it all to do, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Bomb dropped, he's got to go ahead and retrieve it. So much to do. We've been bigging Maka up, but a 1v5 is a very tall order indeed.
Yeah, and G2, they want the fight. They're giving him the peaks here and there. Maka just getting caught. Shox does cross on top of the hut, but now Maka's got to walk into the open arms of Amanek and Shox, who falls, quite literally, into the hand. And Maka, he's going for this. Through the smoke, 18 seconds. Amanek shuts it down as expected. Not the 1v5, but it is going to be the half, at least salvaged somewhat from G2. Still a fantastic T-side from French Frogs. And if they could top it off with a pistol round in this second, we could be seeing an upset today. Find out if that's going to be the case after the break. FrenchFrogs sitting in the lead over G2 after the first half of Nuke. You might think that, oh, you know, Nuke CT sided, but they started on the T side, Harry. That's a pretty despicable beginning. And G2, they are looking for revenge here as we head into their terrorist half. Straight into things and quick towards a yard. G2 is Hadji trying to shut it down with the USP. He's got Jinx alongside him, but he's got to be very careful. Lots of players who will retreat inside of the safety of the A site and leave it up to Maka to watch a yard.
Logan gonna get one from heaven. Maka now rearing his head, but he might wish he hadn't. He's a bit surrounded here. Maka dodging shots left and right, somehow still alive. Gonna take Kenny S down with him as he perishes at the hands of Shox. David P repositioning over in the ramp room, shutting down Lucky, and this leaves Amanek and Shox very far apart from one another. Amanek setting up over towards heaven. He'll just hold his ground for the time being, waiting to see what Shox can do. Setting up over here in the hut, looking to try and go for the A split. There is a man here. Rather, I don't think there is a man here. And they could just take A for free right now, but obviously they got no way of knowing that.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's such a hard site to take. G2 are never just going to run in, assuming. But now Amanek, well, he knows. He's coming through the heaven. He's gotten the information that bomb plant can come through. The issue is he's planted for heaven side. They don't own heaven, so Shox doubles back to try and take control of the ramp, but Hadji's already dropped him. And now Amanek, he's got to play for a bomb plant that's not for him, so he needs to get aggressive, and he needs a pick soon because 1-on-3, time is ticking. Hadji's holding on to the hut. This is a battle of timing, and Amanek will walk right in. This shot, he gets a 1v1 and does win it out, but they don't have a kit to play with. They need to get on that bomb now, and already sticking the defuse is going to be Jinx. David P trying to cover from close, and Amanek, he's going to miss the shot. David P shutting it down, and FrenchFrogs, they'll pick up the pistol here on the CT side of Nuke.
Things are getting scary for G2 right now. This CT side, you know, normally pretty heavy favorite, although I definitely think, you know, you could say that that's shrunk down massively in comparison to Nuke of old.
Yeah.
Regardless, you know, the fact they come into this with that one-round advantage, they're sat 8-7 up. Now they find themselves the pistol. They can look to reach double digits before we see that first buy on the cards for G2. And some other worrying signs of the times. Kenny not really arriving in the server, and his AWPing counterpart on the side of FrenchFrogs, Maka, the man that we've been bigging up, he's sitting toward the top of the board for that CT side squad. So, you know, we are kind of lacking Kenny S to step up and challenge and put Maka, you know, kind of in his place, right, in that sense. This round, they have been able to get a man down through Secret, but already an early rotation from FrenchFrogs sees them aware of this problem. They will have Jinx nearby to keep an eye on Amanek. Rest of G2 actually starting to wrap back round and try and take outside once again. They were able to get by here for free. Maka flashed off the angle, but they line up for him. He's going to find the triple. He's shut down everyone. The bomb's dropped, and Shox now rearing his head with the Deeg. Does shut down Logan. His problem now is he's completely surrounded, and he's going to struggle crossing from the door to even go and retrieve that bomb that's sitting toward outside right now.
Yeah, this is locked down for FrenchFrogs right now, and no guns for G2 either. They can't pick anything up. Maka's got a sight on the yard. Shox does hit a Deeg out of nowhere, taking down Hadji. So opened up a possibility, but with 29 seconds, that bomb is going to be the crucial factor. Maka's on the angle. Shox is going to have to hit something despicable to take that down, but Maka, he needs to get the reload in. Pistol out, and Amanek with the trade. 20 seconds. He's trying to cross, and he might catch it, but David P shutting it down. 20 HP the difference, and he will save the day. It's going to be FrenchFrogs getting rid of the pistols as G2. Maybe a little closer than they would have liked, but a round is a round, and they are swimming in them, Harry. Convincing lead right now for the FrenchFrogs, and G2 going into their first rifle, they need a win.
Yeah, they really do, right? Time is kind of running out in all senses of the word for G2. Now, obviously, you know, it's still some wiggle room here. But FrenchFrogs are very much building upon this confidence, and I kind of said, you know, they are a team that can struggle a bit when they have problems thrown at them. They struggle to dust themselves off a bit and remain resilient, but they've done a great job of that in this matchup, and now the tides have turned. The wind's blowing in their favor, and they've risen to the occasion. Tactical pause called in, heading in to this first rifle upon rifle round. And it is on the FrenchFrogs side of things. Trying to figure out how they want to approach this coveted rifle round. Mag 7 on Logan.
Maybe not live.
Yeah, I heard the typing. And yeah, it ruined my day.
The clicking, the clacking, Harry, but just taking a quick moment. Some technical issues, but I'm sure everyone on the site is sorting it out nice and quickly. Either way, this is still a pretty impressive performance, and I wonder if they'll be able to take it over the line. FrenchFrogs sitting 10-7 up right now. G2, I won't say seemingly out of answers, because that was over in the first half. Here's where they can at least control the pace, so they can set the standard on their terrorist side, but we've yet to see their rifle rounds, Harry.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't really know what sort of G2 we're going to see show up in this second half, right? I don't know if we're going to see a big recovery from Kenny, or if we're going to see the likes of Amanek and Shox keep finding success in these entries, and maybe that's going to create some space for G2, because you know they have just been a bit hit and miss. It hasn't really been a consistent unit, playing off of one another.
The thing is as well, if you think to Kenny over on the CT side of Nuke, it's like, where does Kenny succeed? He succeeds holding back CT, holding Garage, and holding, down Secret with the AWP. He didn't really get a chance to take any of those gunfights. He had a couple of rounds with like an M4 in back CT and one round with the York down in B, but there were so many lurks and fakes from FrenchFrogs over on the T side where they were splitting in through ramp from CT spawn and coming in towards A from vent and heaven at the same. It was so crazy that Kenny didn't really have a chance. But let's see if the second half could be better. Right now it's not looking good because already an opening kill for FrenchFrogs, but Kenny does respond, finding David P. Haji's still here close, and he has fired off a couple of shots, so does want to just back off, doesn't want to give them the man advantage away. We sit back into a 4-on-4. He'll just play close squeaky with Logan on assistance with that shotgun. Ready for an A burst if G2 want to throw it their way, but still hearing typing, which certainly isn't what I want to hear. G2 ending up outside with the smokes, and they will manage to get Amanek at least down towards the Secret. That bomb, though, not looking to follow him. They're trying to fake out this B play with a lot of noise. Well, in the meantime, maybe look for the A split.
Well, they've certainly got the attention of FrenchFrogs. They've rotated players down towards B. They're going to lose Maka up in heaven. This leaves Logan alone, and he's got a lot to do. Mag 7 in hand, and he gets a lot of damage, but that's not enough. Kenny shutting down another, and Jinx, 1v4 required. He's on the lengthy ramp rotation. And, while he might have, or did have, an element of surprise with that bomb going down, their eyes primed over towards Hut, Jinx decides to back on off and concede this round the way of G2, 8-10. So the heavy favorites in this map still trying to claw their way back into it. And we do see a bigger performance in that round from Kenny. He's able to get a nice little double. I do think, moving into the T side now that he can kind of pick and choose where he takes these fights, where he opens himself up to, and not really have it kind of dictated to as much as he was getting over on the CT side of things. I think that could make all the difference, right? It does definitely feel like we need to see a recovery from Kenny over in the G2 camp if they want to win this map.
That was a great call, though, from G2. I love that 4v4. They make a lot of noise down towards B. They send Amanek down to try and fake the play. And what that does is that forces Haji, who's playing close squeaky, down the vent into B to try and watch for that split. And there we go. A only has a shotgun on it, and G2 just go for a standard split inside of the site from main. So very well-timed play from them. The reason that's so good is you've already killed the outside player, so no one's stopping you from splitting main, but no one's stopping G2 from rushing A either. There are 3 on the other side of things, but rifles against pistols. Just a couple of rifles for FrenchFrogs, but mostly getting removed. Back-to-back, Lucky does take down Haji after the trade. And this is already looking like a save for FrenchFrogs. The immediate A play for G2 comes up clutch. And a 4-on-2, Jinx is in spawn, and David P not far away from one of those either.
And just another blinding blinding performance from Kenny to open things up. I tell you what, right, I was just quickly looking back, Hugo. You and I cast FrenchFrogs back, you know, they were the X3D Max banner, right? We saw them in Pro League playing versus Astralis on this map. And if you remember, they were able to get that, I think it was like, what?
7 T-side rounds?
Yeah. 7 CT side rounds, I believe. So, you know, their CT side was looking great, but then it all fell apart moving into their T side half. One thing I was going to say is, you know, the fact their T side has looked so good here versus G2 does indicate they definitely could try and test them a decent bit.
Well, hey, if you can beat Astralis on Nuke or at least get some rounds, that's it's not easier said than done, Harry. Not many teams can say they've done that, especially over on Nuke. Maybe Ents being one of the very few. But FrenchFrogs sitting around up now. G2 nipping at their heels, and they might just get a bite as well, because look at this buy. 2 guns, the 3 ecoing players that did go down in the previous. And G2 just looking to charge the yard again. It's Amanek. First man in position. He's already down B. Shock's getting spammed. 2 HP the difference. Lucky there's no HEs for FrenchFrogs. Hadji's eager to make a difference as well. He wants to push inside of lobby, but Jax is on the angle. Hadji spots it, backs off, knows it's a default being established by G2 in the lobby. They're not setting up for an A play. That's information that's valuable in and of itself. The thing is, FrenchFrogs should know that G2 have had access down towards his B site already, and they've got to react accordingly. Kenny S, in the meantime, moving through the yard late, does catch Maka, and we could see another one of these A splits here for G2. I mean, the world is their oyster, Harry. They have a lot of map control.
Yeah, I mean, and the man advantage, and the firepower advantage, and they're everywhere. You know, things, all the boxes are getting checked for G2 in this round, and it's falling apart for the FrenchFrogs. Lucky and Jax, the 2 newest additions to the G2 squad, shutting down. Well, the 2 of the newest additions. Yes. Shutting down the players inside of A. And that will be the 10th for G2. Tell you what, Kenny came in to the second half. I think he had, what, 9 kills to his name? Now getting 5 in the last 3 rounds. So, you know, he's already going above and beyond, having a much better time of things in his T half. And that is going to be exciting to keep an eye on. Jax hunting down these players, and now Jinx the only man remaining.
Oh.
Ooh, just missing the timing there. Gonna go back for it, and will shut Jax down. Ooh, drops that Molotov. Tries to push through it and catch them by surprise, I think was the idea.
I think that works if you throw it below you and you don't stand in the flames, because that does 2 things. It makes an audio cue, and it's also taking damage. So, yeah, that maybe if that was his initial thought process, instead of to back off and then change his mind, that could have worked, but he seemed very hesitant with that decision. It was very last minute. Either way, it won't make a difference. It's still 10-10, and we've still got an eco from FrenchFrogs. The question was just how many guns will they have saved into this round? Well, it's none. Full pistols and a lobby crunch. Logan going deep, and Jinx is going to get a kill as well. This is coming up with the trades for FrenchFrog, which is far better than you can expect. They're now in a 3-on-2. They have the bomb and guns. Shox holds onto the spawn, but he knows that David P's wrapped. The issue is the smoke blinded him, covered his vision. David gets the kill, and now Kenny wrapping in from main. He's got hit very fast, but FrenchFrogs are already set up.
Yeah, they can just trade off of one another, right? At this point in time, Kenny actually might be given the bomb here. They've let him get that real estate at least back in to the radio room. Now backing away.
He has B available to him.
World is his oyster, Hugo.
Anything is possible.
The problem he's going to have is in this oyster world, there's a couple of sharks swimming amongst the mix. Kenny backing off into the hut. Guess that is planted for him, but Jinx is on the wraparound from above, so that will be FrenchFrogs finding success with the lobby crunch. That was an eco round for the CT squad.
And it's kind of weird, but I also love the call to just give up the bomb there. You know, Kenny, you could see he was super confused. Like, why am I getting this bomb for free? Why am I getting a plant for free? And the thing is that you have to realize is they can be anywhere at that point. If they're not on the bomb, anywhere on the map. And they were all over it as well. So, yeah, Kenny not knowing where to look or where to check and getting caught from that late roof position that FrenchFrogs managed to establish from that lobby push. A really good round from them, and the Pistols, they'll take the lead here for the CT side. This game is really proving to be a barn burner, Harry, a close one indeed. And we're not done just yet. More outside control here for G2 with the rifles. David, he's rushing on back because they're rushing into his face. Shocks round the corner, and David's getting caught with his nades in his hand. That's not how you want to start off the round. G2 with an advantage and the possibility to split towards heaven or hell. They can go for this A play very early on, and they're already out on the ramp room as well.
Yeah, G2 are everywhere. Shocks up in heaven. That is such a problem to deal with. The fact he's here so quickly as well. Kenny now started a rapid from Mini. Players pushing down through ramp, and they might change their mind here. Shock's going to find Maka up on the A portion. Jinx mollied forward and into the prying eyes of Amanek. Haji wrapping around. Logan's here as well. They shut down Lucky, but it is at some cost. Haji left in the clutch. A 1v2 as the bomb goes down. A full belt of utilities, trying to get the nades in, trying to find a bit of damage, trying to whittle down this man inside of the bomb site. The unknown factor here is going to be Amanek, just lying in wait, holding close. Haji, will he be ready for it? Spots the man inside of the site who's just toying with him, just wasting time, and Kenny able to peek out, shuts him down, and that will be G2 tying things up once again.
Yeah, very nice call from G2 to slow down there once they spotted that first player in dark. Not just looking for the immediate trade, there was no one nearby, so they chill, they throw a Molotov, they deal with the only player inside of B, and at that point, I mean, B is all over. B is fully G2, so another post plant converted here for this T side, and 11-11. Maka back on the AWP. We've not seen any really for G2 this half. They've had the money for it, but they're more about the pace. And Shocks, he just gets a free AWP like that, gifted, Uber Eats to his door, as they charge the yard at the same time. Amanek will trade 1-for-1, but G2 just back off, and Haji's going to get the information.
Yeah, he is still getting flashed. There is still a hearty bit of utility coming his way that might lull him into sticking around here. And that might be the right call to make, because they have up and left Lucky in the back line just to keep an eye on things towards the outside area. Logan gets spotted on his hut aggression, and he decides to get the hell out of there while he still has the opportunity to. Actually wrapping around to join him, and a smoke drop down by the door will hold G2 back that much longer, but starting to meander down towards ramp, and no one here for the French Frogs. So G2, they will get this bit of real estate for free, and then with it, they might look to try and, I mean, really all their options are open at them at that point in time, right? They can look to head in through hell and then take the A-bombs that you could drop down into B, and they will be creeping forward. They will be creeping on into hell. Jinx is here to keep an eye on it, though. Jack's still able to mop him up somehow, some way. Logan and Haji both inside of A, but they're getting dropped one by one. Amanek in with the triple. And G2 going to take the lead once again at 12-11 now.
Oh, that metal. That's so unfortunate. The bullet penetration of the FAMAS not nearly as good as the AK. Plus, that angle didn't really look too favorable as a CT anyway. It's kind of a hard one to fight. You want the information, but you also don't want to give away the kill. You can easily get wall banged up in heaven from the floor. That's exactly what happens. So unfortunate, round there in the 3-on-4 for French Frogs, but G2 just playing things perfectly by the cards. One lurk outside just to make sure no one gets aggressive and flanks there. They're slow ramp crawl. They take the map controller they know is free because, of course, French Frogs, with only 3 players, they've got to dedicate to a bomb site. You can't split up in a 3-on-4 like that. You can't, have a player on B, have a player on A, and try and play yard and just be traditional. That won't work. You've got to group up. They try their best towards the top side of A, but it doesn't work in their favor. Now G2 starting to take the lead here on this T side. It was a great half on the first for French Frogs, but maybe it's not enough to drag them over the finish line. Pistols again. They did win the last time we saw this buy, though, but they had armor behind everyone. This time it's very lackluster.
Yeah, they've got even less. But sometimes less is more. Not in this situation. More would definitely be more this time around.
I could agree.
But I do like these little gimmicky pistol setups that French Frogs are keen on running. Look at this. They've got a little bouncer system. They're checking IDs at the door. G2, are they ready for this? I mean, they might not even ever go down secret, so we might never even see this come into fruition. But I hope we do. Shocks, come on. get a bit curious.
Well, Harry, curiosity did kill the cat. So Shox will remain hesitant. Speculating some control here for FrenchFrogs, and he wouldn't be wrong in that. That's a bit of a noise cue, and he's going to look to get aggressive off the back of it. He spots one. Will that bait him in? Yes, indeed, but the second player can't get the kill, and he gets the spray on both. Well, someone brought their ID, and FrenchFrogs are out of that one. It's going to be G2 running back up towards A to split the site, and they've already found another kill for it. It's just Logan here, again unable to anchor this bomb site, and David P alone. Same story. Logan's had a bit of a rough game here. He's been relegated to the shotgun so many times on this A site, and not really had too much success with it either. FrenchFrogs, they realize this is slipping from their fingers, and they need something to turn it around.
And I mean, this is kind of the storyline you and I built into in the beginning, right? You know, you think back, and I know I keep speaking about it just because, you know, we did get to see such a kind of wide field of how this FrenchFrogs roster played during Pro League. And they had a real problem closing out games there as well. They didn't pick up a single map. There was even times where they had advantages, where things were looking good. But it's when they get towards the latter stages of the game, when the pressure's on, that's when it does all seem to fall apart for the FrenchFrogs. That may gonna find a blinding bit of damage. Kenny's actually been spurred on to get boosted over the top. Ooh, I think he saw you there. Not quite. Maka will dodge death for the time being. Kenny creeping forward. Maka trying to keep an eye on this. Realizes players have gone across instead. Gonna reposition down toward Hell. Still keeping an eye on outside, but there's players wrapping in through the outside portion and players over towards ramp.
Jinx spotted a barrel there.
Yeah, but it's still this outside presence that's completely unnoticed. Maka doesn't know. He could just get shot in the back, and then that's going to divide the attention of that player down in ramp. Between Hell and between this ramp push. As you say, Jinx did see a barrel, so he knows there's players there. Maka's going to turn around, and Kenny, timing gets the better of him there. Maka's said to start tingling, and you could smell another AWPer nearby. And time, that's the real problem. Maka's in with another. He's dismantled this outside play. They line up for Jinx. The bomb's dropped. It's all fallen apart. The best laid plans can sometimes have the worst results, and Shox 1v5 is not happening.
That is G2 completely getting in their own head. They had the perfect round for them. If Maka doesn't find that kill, then the Jax can easily just walk into A and they can win that round. That is so unfortunate. No one, Shox, no, he's dead. No one was watching Heaven from inside of A because they weren't aware that Maka missed the timing to those players crossing past him. The wall of smokes that was originally put down by G2 was used to get them into the garage to flank Maka on that exact play. The issue is they just don't check Hell. And with 20 seconds left, it all falls apart. G2, that is such an awkward round to lose, as you say. And that has saved FrenchFrogs again at a time they need it most, keeping this game so back and forth. No one is running away with this one. 13-12, another buy for G2. But it will be FrenchFrogs with the AWP this time. Amanek fast in the yard. He spotted one. He's taken him down. That's the AWP removed straight away. And he can just dive up into Heaven again and go for one of these fast A splits. Hadji, in the meantime, has shut down Kenny. And that bomb's been dropped. Oh, no.
Hadji quick on his feet. In with another. Making this round that was looking so good for G2, right? They get Amanek set up towards outside. He could look to fast wrap into the Heaven. But Hadji slamming down the gauntlet, dropping the bomb, finding a double. He's made this round more than doable for FrenchFrogs. He's turned it so that they're in the advantage. But Amanek, ooh, very fast flick indeed. Jax, or Jinx rather, he's gone. David P in with the response, does get the trade onto Amanek. Lucky and Shox left standing, but this bomb still down and out in the open. They have to try and get it. Wraparound coming in from Shox. He's going to post himself up in the Heavens. No one from FrenchFrogs seems aware of this possibility, but they check it. He's gone, and Lucky 1v3 required now.
All that remains here for G2, FrenchFrogs might just find this hard reset, but a quick shot from Lucky just catches the angle. Logan getting shot through the wall there. And now Lucky's got a chance. Hadji's low. He was the man watching the bomb up close, so he's retreated a little bit. Separated himself, but still on the angle. This gives Lucky another 1v1, but Hadji will take it. 3 kills, and what a game from Hadji and Maka. These guys have really been saving the day for FrenchFrogs time and time again, as we say. even with Maka going down within seconds into that round, and Amanek just storming towards hell, Haji still able to save it with that bomb drop over in main. Great work from him. And this game is so close, Harry. Anyone could take it at this point. And that's the thing, the pressure here is for G2 more than anyone. There's very little pressure on the likes of FrenchFrogs. If they find this upset, that's fantastic. If they fall, it's expected.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like quite literally, no one really has any expectations of the FrenchFrogs. They're all glus, right? So it's like no one is going to be there, you know, like on their backs if they don't pick up this win here. It really doesn't to them, like, you know, yeah, as you say, a lot of the pressure is off. The only thing they're kind of competing for isn't just for the title here. It's kind of, you know, to showcase themselves, right? This is their chance to kind of market themselves as a team or as individuals. And that is really the only pressure that they've got in this matchup. G2, meanwhile, they're meant to be the French super team. And I mean, here we are, 13-13, FrenchFrogs, a team without even an org. So, certainly not the scoreline we would have anticipated, far closer. But still anyone's game. The money really does decide a hell of a lot here, and neither team has really got much of a bank built up. Smoke's going to go down towards outside. Maka trying to hold it with the AWP, but players do get past.
Amanek late to the party. He does bring the bomb, the best gift of all here for G2, who look to go and plant it down on this lower bomb site. Only one man inside here, but G2 making a lot of noise. They're not scared to make this very clear. Jinx is waiting. David P might get caught on round. Lucky's the timing, and Jax gets the entry. That's so huge. G2, the only B player, has been removed, and now they can get this bomb plant. Post plants on Nuke are notoriously difficult to retake, and with a man disadvantage, an AWP, and no one on that lower site, I think a save is honestly the best call.
Yeah, it's a gut-wrenching call to have to make, right? But it's a very understandable one. The one thing now for FrenchFrogs is they really cannot afford to lose these rifles. You can lose one guy, you know, you can still supplement a buy in the next, that's fine. But if a couple of kills come through here for G2, you just haven't even attempted this round, and you know you don't get away with a full buy in the next, but it does affect how much they can take with them into these following rounds. The Maka getting pressured. That's a nice shot onto Shox. He's not giving the AWP up anytime soon.
But the bomb will take it away.
So he is giving the AWP up sometimes too.
quite soon. Now, in fact. That's a result of G2 conditioning FrenchFrogs there. You could tell, even though G2 were making a lot of noise down in secret, there was no rotation. There was no, call for a second man to go over for the likes of FrenchFrogs down on B. So the second G2 get that kill, it's their round. And the reason being is because every time G2 have thrown those outside smokes, how many times have they gone to B? Never. They've not once taken secret. With the exception of that round where Shox gets 2 kills, we've never seen the bomb. I mean, the bomb wasn't even there in that case. We've never seen the bomb down secret, essentially. So G2, they've been using those outside smokes to get towards Hell, to get towards Yard, to split through main on A. And the one time they go towards B, it completely catches FrenchFrogs off guard.
Yeah, as you say, they were fully conditioned, right? Forget about Pavlov's dogs. It's all about Shox's frogs here in the server, Hugo. 14-13, and G2 back in the lead. AWP going to be out on Maka. Rifles across the board. They were still able to carry that AWP forward. But make no mistake, if they lose this, that hope, the fact that they've fought so hard, it could all elude them, as the money has ran dry over on the CT side. Shox straight through Mini, and Haji was not ready for the pace on that man. He gets shot in the face, he is gone. And so now he just has to sit back, put his faith in the rest of the squad, and watch as his 4 teammates try and keep the dream alive. David P, good for 1, but he's been eliminated. Jinx, Logan, and Maka, the 3 musketeers that remain. Jinx over at ramp. Oh, Maka sees the barrel, lucky. He's gone, so we're back into a 3-on-3, even odds. G2 trying to hit the B-bomb side, but Jinx is gone. Maka's mollied off, he tries to peek through it, but he's taking a lot of damage for his troubles and doesn't get much as a reward. Logan's here to try and help out. This bomb goes down, and for G2, they're feeling confident. They're on the hunt. Maka's gone. Logan Well, he does deal with shocks. He still has such a monstrous task ahead of him, and he might just look to try and save it. I mean, no option is a good option. It's pick your poison at this point in time, and Logan, he's going to give this one a look in.
He's got her. It's 14-13. Bomb, smoke, and he's got the kid as well. He can easily jump on this defuse, but the issue is walking through the smoke is Kenny, shutting it down, saving the round there for G2, and the pace has really been set on this T side. We talk about it, and it has been shown in these past few rounds. Shox, Amanek, these players just running outside and getting an entry within 15 seconds of the round. Twice now that's happened, and it has been such a problem for the likes of FrenchFrogs. Not being able to deal with this pace. G2, they've had enough, Harry. They're looking for this victory in the final few rounds, and they might just get it. FrenchFrogs scrambling for a buy, a scout, 2 SMGs, and a deagle. With only 1 AUG, that's on David P, and he is in the yard at least, but so is G2.
Yeah, we get to see a clash out in the yard early. Maybe not. They're both missing each other right now. The smoke's going to start to fade, and eventually someone has to uncover the terrible truth that lies towards outside. David P, undetected right now, still holding his ground. They're trying to run a bit of a bait and switch, right? Maka drawing the attention away from CT and then allowing David P to strike. G2 also setting up over towards Hut. They've broken Squeaky. They're throwing in Molotovs to clear out the far vent. Logan on top of that. Actually, we get to see that little David P rearing his head, and that's going to net them a kill. Kenny's gone. The Molotov does get Logan away from the top of the Hut. They try and go through that smoke. Jack's going to blind one. Haji. Oh, they're gone. They are gone. Shox, 1v3 required. He's got to go back and get the bomb. Haji, the hero of FrenchFrogs, once again, might have dodged. This round going the way of G2 and this map going their way. Shox now in this 1v3. 30 seconds left. Bomb on his back. G2 at map and series point. I guess just match point.
And don't count him out, Harry. 19 seconds. FrenchFrogs, no one on B. They're going to have to play retake, play the post part. Shox can just stick this bomb here. No kits, but they will be quick in rotation. Already down into the secret. The flash and missed. Shox, he has a 1v1 here, and Maka won't give it to him, waiting for his teammates to close the gap. Fake on the window, but he'll double back inside of the secret. Back is dead, and Jinx to follow, but he'll find the round, and FrenchFrogs pick it up. Haji with 3 on that SMG. What a round from him. He has been bailing them out when they need him most. Back in main those a few rounds ago, and now up on the A site as well. 15-14, and overtime, very real possibility here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I was going to say a guarantee, maybe not a guarantee, because, you know, that round there, G2, they try and throw in just a Hail Mary, right? They've been winning these gunfights straight up. They just decide, you know what? To end this, we go for the ultimate disrespect. We hope the FrenchFrogs are in their own heads a bit. You know, they maybe haven't. They've stacked elsewhere. They've tried to counterplay what we've been running. We're just going to barrel through the smoke. They go for the Hail Mary. It doesn't work. And they're back in with another fast A play. This time, Haji shut down almost immediately, but the trades go back and forth. FrenchFrogs, they've pulled it back to a 2-on-2. Maka and David P to try and carry them through to overtime. Shox and Kenny, the 2 vintage boys for G2 left in the server on the other side of things. And Kenny, he's got this bomb down. Peeking on out, but he falls. David's deleted him, and Shox now 1v2, or else this is heading through to overtime.
If there was any man for it though, Harry, and they don't know where he is. That window yet to be broken. He's going to have to give away his position, but he's been shut down. David P with 3, and the defuse is there. It's overtime indeed for this French matchup. The domestic dispute, and all the rounds and more, Harry. Exactly what this game deserves. G2, they have been put to the test.
Yeah, they've come up a little bit short towards the end of that second half. OT now means that money stops being as much of a problem. We can see either one of these teams, you know, fully invest, get everything we need, and that's going to set us up, I think, for a very, very interesting means of ending this series, right? Because we did keep seeing those limitations creep through, right? We didn't always have Maka on the AWP. We didn't always have Kenny on the AWP. There were those caveats. They're gone now. You know, we have to get to see both these teams play their own game and see exactly what they're made of.
FrenchFrogs, they may be croaking, but they're certainly not cracking under the pressure, Harry. It is 15-15, double AWP, and no AWP for the likes of G2. They've been reluctant to run it on the T side, and that will continue. Fast A play, and Hadji locking it down with the AWP. It's immediate trade from Logan as well, as Jax only gets one for his troubles, taking down the likes of Maka. Still keeping one AWP in play, but David P will only extend this man advantage. Logan gives it up. And G2, still only a 2-on-3, still a difficult situation, but they make use of the fact the FrenchFrogs have over-rotated towards A after those early flashbangs. They've taken ramp for free, and again down towards this lower site. Another 2-on-3 from G2. We've seen this before.
Yeah, but FrenchFrogs have actually been very, very good in these retake scenarios. Bomb plant going down, MNX planting out in the open, but he's already getting challenged. He's kind of confined into this bomb site, does just catch the timing to cross through the double doors, but that will not go unnoticed. FrenchFrogs heard the door open, they didn't quite spot him. But the shot's now raining in from the window. Kenny able to transfer onto David P. And it's Hadji left up. He's on the bomb. Kenny, he's not ready. Hadji's scoping to hide that fact. And Kenny, losing it in the 1v1. Hadji just sticking the defuse. I do love that, you know, going for a little scope in while you're on the bomb is such a great way of hiding a stuck defuse.
I mean, that was mind games both ways. Kenny was fake jumping towards a window to give the sound that he dropped if maybe Hadji wasn't on it. And that's the issue there if you're Kenny, right?
Man, the
Hadji
scariest thing is about Hadji, in that situation, is he has to be looking down at the bomb, right? And he's literally scoped in. So when he hears that jump, in the back of his mind, he's like, he could be out. I can't see him. So he's just sticking it.
Oh no, it's going to get hot in here. And Kenny has taken David away. Shock's already looking to get into main. Very, very close indeed. Jax, or Jinx rather, moving back, and one player dropping through the vents. That's a good angle from Logan, and he'll catch Shock's off guard. Now Hadji, he can re-aggress from down in secret. A position that G2 certainly weren't expected this late in the round, but he jumps. He makes a noise above the smoke. Might even catch one, shoots as well. Giving away his position, but in the meantime, Maka gets aggressive, and FrenchFrogs bringing the heat in this round. Man advantage regained. It's always G2 fighting back up against their disadvantages. Jinx above the hut, dropping Kenny, and this is falling apart now for G2. One-on-ones not working out. It's going to be 17 rounds to FrenchFrogs. They take both of the overtime so far.
Oh dear, it's happening. It is happening. The FrenchFrogs, one away from going flawless in this OT. And I tell you what a performance it's been. Hadji has had some massive moments. We've seen big moments from the likes of Maka, but really, I mean, it's been everyone stepping up, right? It's been a real team effort towards the end, especially moving into the CT side, right? The T side portion, it felt more like it was Maka and Jinx having a step up. Then we saw Hadji early on need a couple of clutch moments, but it does feel like they've kind of found their footing. David P might get caught off by this pace. He's actually only going to get one. Amanek able to trade things out, and now the bomb on the back of Jax. Down towards B it goes. Maka deciding to rotate away from the vent. Doesn't want to get caught out. Jinx is repositioned inside of the bomb site, but he's going to be hard-pressed to find much here. He's completely surrounded. Doesn't have anyone nearby to help him out. There is a player over at ramp who's now moved into position to try and assist his teammate, and he will draw the attention. Jinx and Hadji making quick work of this push. That is until they've both been deleted. And now it's Logan and Maka, 2-on-2. Lucky and Kenny in the hot seat for G2 to try and salvage a single round in this first half of OT.
They just push out. Kenny doesn't expect it. That's so ballsy from FrenchFrogs, and they've secured the man advantage once again. It's Lucky now has to save the day. Been spotted and been removed. Logan shuts it down, and 3 apiece here in overtime for the likes of the FrenchFrogs. They sit 18-15 up, 1 T-side round away from getting a victory. And Harry, think back to that initial first half. FrenchFrogs, they had a fantastic T-side. They had 7 rounds at the end of it.
They had 8 rounds.
8 rounds at the end of it. Even better.
They won out the half.
That's incredible. So
yeah, you know what? I should have stuck to my prediction from the offset, mate. I knew.
Bad. Well, you clearly did.
Will this be the comeback of dreams for G2, or rather nightmares? Feels more like a nightmare, because this is not a game. At least on paper, you know, we're not trying to discredit the FrenchFrogs when we say that. G2 are the heavy favorites here by every stretch of the imagination. So FrenchFrogs potentially about to pick up a victory. They've already defeated, if they do so, one of the big heavyweights at this event. David P missing Shocks. They bypass one another in the smoke, and Shocks is going to use that to his advantage. Gives the info that David P is there. Oh, no. But now Kenny's gone, and this is where Shocks might wish that he'd just taken the one kill he knew he could have got. He will at least find Maka. If he fell there would have been a lot of salt in the wound for G2.
And look how far David P's gotten as a result of being let by. And no one's watching this for G2. No one's even aware of the possibility. He has 2 potentially free kills for himself. And there they are, lined up and ready. David P with a double. And Shocks probably all full of regret at this one. 18 rounds looks to be 19. And FrenchFrogs 1 kill away from doing it.
Yeah, it's only Jax to try and deny it. And what a way for this to all fall apart for G2 and all fall into place for FrenchFrogs. David P, the man to try and solidify it, the man to try and take this game, and he will. Jax is gone, and that is it. FrenchFrogs, they best G2. They look happy as ever, and you can understand why. You know, there's 3 French teams at this event, and the winner today, the French team that we see come out and get a victory in these initial games, is FrenchFrogs.
Over G2, over the French super team, Harry. That is a very impressive win nonetheless, and they are going to be very cheery about that indeed. This throws the whole group into disarray as well. This is not a game that I expected to go this way, but it makes for some exciting Counter-Strike over the next few days, Harry. We talked about maybe seeing G2 in the grand final. Well, hey, there's another French team to keep your eyes on, especially on Nuke. What a battle that was. And, you know, now setting up with 1 expected win, with Mousesports taking their first, and 1 underdog.
Yeah, right. It puts us in a very interesting spot in terms of how the rest of this event now is going to pan on out. And it also means that we get to see that much more kind of G2 play, which is great for the crowd here as well. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know that Shocks is going to be very regretful about how that game ends up. Because in the back of your mind, you can't help but feel like if he kills David P there, could have been a very different round, right? He is the man who solidifies the victory for FrenchFrogs to end it. But obviously, there's a lot more to that game than just 1 round, right? I mean, it was a well-deserved comeback from FrenchFrogs. They did a great job of grinding their way back into it. Let's not forget, it was 15-13 in favor of G2. They were able to weather the storm and get back into that game, take it to overtime, and then they took the win convincingly.
The tables have turned, Harry, but now us to turn to another table. It is the desk. Frankie and co stand by. Wow, what a game. And none of the analysts getting the prediction right. I don't blame you, though, for this one.
And you didn't get the prediction right either, though,
I'm not an analyst,
did you,
though,
Hugo?
so it's okay. I'm a caster. We don't have to know what we're talking about.
But I think I can probably safely predict, though, it's going to be an Banger Mouse final. You reckon?
Wow, that's kind of
know.
bold.
That's a little bit salty. It's only day 1, isn't it? Sorry, I did hear some people cheering in the audience. Hello, everyone watching us out in DreamHack here in Tour. Guys, the first part of that first half, it looked like, it's going to be short and sweet, G2. They're looking pretty confident. And then, Potter, did they get overconfident?
I don't think they got overconfident. I think that it was expected that FrenchFrogs would come out swinging, specifically on that T side we spoke about. That is where they would need to get all the advantages that they could, and they absolutely did. I mean, 8 rounds on T side Nuke. That's definitely more than most teams could ask for. I think G2 just... They didn't have their T side figured out quite as what we were hoping and expecting, I think. I mean, we saw towards the later end of the half, G2 was taking over that secret and was going lower, and I think they found most of their success lower, but then FrenchFrogs, their adjustments, they started stacking more towards that lower bomb side, and Jinx was such a nuisance down there against G2.
So diplomatic of you, Potter. Now we need to be diplomatic with the representative for the FrenchFrogs. It's Haji. He's waiting. Hello, Haji. How you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. But is that the official FrenchFrogs T-shirt you're wearing? What's going on here?
No, not at all.
And cook the food tray.
No, it's just my personal one. We don't have an org, so.
You don't have an organ yet. You just beat G2. How does that feel, mate?
It feels amazing. It feels really amazing. Like, I think we had they won the first pistol. It was like a rough start for us, but we still managed to win a lot of gun rounds on T. And yeah, we switched to the CT. We won the pistol. Then they start like winning some rounds. We start feeling the pressure. We were like, oh no, it's falling down. We're losing this, and then somehow we managed to go to overtime, and we just win it. I'm just glad right now.
Haji, you guys are a pretty fairly new team. How much practice on Nuke have you guys had as a unit?
I don't know exactly. I think like 2 months maybe, or a month and a half. We try to play it as much as possible.
Okay, so you guys are focusing Nuke a lot as a team?
Not really. Not,
No?
it's not the main focus, but yeah, obviously it's one of our good map, I guess. So yeah, I'm just happy that it went our side.
Speaking of Nuke, right? When you guys obviously when we saw Nuke being played, were you a little worried over there? Were you expecting G2 to to go for the map, and were you prepared for them going into Nuke?
To be honest, we knew that it's gonna be probably Nuke. Because we know it's one of their best map.
Yeah.
We knew that we're gonna instantly ban Deathstroke because it's obviously their best one. So we knew that they will not ban Nuke. So if we want to play Nuke, we're gonna play it. So we were like, okay, guys, let's just play it, and then we see what's happening.
And
what's gonna happen.
And Haji, while we have you, I know you were on a mixed roster before when you were with the Imperial boys. What's it like for you being on a French team?
It feels good. It feels good talking French again. And yeah, I hope we're going to find an organization.
Fingers crossed for you. I mean, if you win more, then maybe. I mean, you could be going straight to Sunday's playoff. So
Yeah,
good luck.
I hope so.
And
Thank
we
you.
might be speaking to you later.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you
Well
very
done.
much. Thank you.
Now, Haji's can't hear us. Do we talk about those CT sides, Blair? I know you're gagging too.
Gagging too. All right, so here's the thing. That was my reaction to the CD side from both the teams. And I'll be honest, some pretty good T sides coming from both the sides, especially from G2. Some of the smoke executors are doing some classic stuff on Nuke, the way they were taking outer. But here's the problem. Both the teams just gave up outer control every single time. Okay, I'm going to talk about a little bit about FrenchFrogs and how they held the CD side. They managed to win the last 2 rounds, but keeping that aside, they were holding positions where they need to get multi-frags to win a round. That is not a sustainable policy on the CT side. You need to either have the crossfire set up properly, or you need to have some map control. They had neither. They had no crossfires. They had no map control. They're relying on getting like 2-3 man spray downs, trying to hold some off angles to make it work. They got lucky, I would say. They did have a couple of rounds where it clicked, but many of the times I felt like they got a little lucky. And G2, come on, man. I mean, they're a team who likes playing this map. You're supposed to have better protocols in place on the CT side. I was not impressed whatsoever by what G2 showed us on their CT side.
I definitely have to agree. I mean, we speak about protocols and we speak about Nuke always being that CT side, but it can only take you so far as a CT-sided map. And you're right, they needed some protocols. And I can't understand why they had Shox playing outside alone so many rounds. And generally speaking, on the CT side of Nuke, if you're playing outside alone, you're just the information player. You're out there to kind of spot around, be as mobile as you can, and be a distraction. But the players that you want to set up for success is the secret players and the mini connector player. These two are the guys that are supposed to be in somewhat of a crossfire, and they're supposed to trade and clean up the kills. However, we saw Shox outside multiple times in a row, playing outside alone, and David P was able to sneak past them 2-3 rounds, even a round in the overtime. Shox allowed him to walk past and make it under heaven, and man, he was so many impact kills that really pulled the rounds together for
Especially in the final round, like Shox saw him.
Yeah.
He should have conveyed information, I'm sure he did, but they were still like looking toward the two guys holding upper. They weren't really paying attention towards heaven. It's like, what was going on with the comms with G2? And if you look at the body language as well, they looked, at least during the second half, they look a little perturbed.
They are one of the most emotional teams in this tier of Counter-Strike, though. It's well known, Kenny S. He's an emotional boy, and it's one of the reasons we love him. But I want to talk a bit more about FrenchFrogs, because there was one moment. It was on the ramp. It was Jinx. He threw a molly on himself, Blair, and you said there was some intent there. He was trying to do something clever, because it looks silly to me. So can you please explain what on earth was going on?
Well, it was smart and dumb at the same time. It was smart because he threw the Molotov to prevent the T's from chasing him down, and he pushed the Molotov to catch the T off guard. Because as a T, you're going to be like, all right, he threw a Molotov to escape, so I'm just going to try pushing with a knife out. So he managed to like game him that way. But the problem is you're trying to save the gun. So what's the point in taking that fight, right?
In his defense, however, his teammates all just kind of fell like dominoes 2 seconds right before he made that play. And so if his teammates were alive, the terrorists coming in towards that ramp, they have to worry about that under ladder.
Yeah.
And so because the under ladder, even if there's no player there, it's going to keep them honest. Their whole focus isn't going to be on that ramp. So it was an okay idea. And you know, clever plays like that is what these players need in order to put rounds on the board. However, his teammates were all dead so fast that he wasn't ever able to really capitalize on that round.
Well, guys, coming up after the break is something that I was going to bill as the closest match we're probably going to see in this opening round. However, that one just went unexpectedly to OT, so it's kind of messed up my throw. But coming up after the break, we've got Valiance versus Windigo, and it is going to be close, let's face it, so don't go anywhere.